woosah. It ain't here. Got to stay in the fight. And you should be standing on the shoulders of your ancestors if you're whatever community you come from, because they had a little bit harder fight than we do today.
Richard Chew, weekday mornings at 6 on WCPT 820. The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
We had a call on this show, a black woman who called in to say that the pre-election finger pointing at black voters was wrong, that she and her community showed up. And she then asked, with real agony and some anger in her voice, where were the rest of us? She felt betrayed. Boy, I understand those feelings.
The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And a happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there. Scott Duff here along with Ellen Miller.
Good morning. Hello.
Very strange.
Hello
there we go.
There
it is.
Hey, we
Oh.
are back.
It's fine. We kind of went underwater for a second. It's a foggy day. It is a foggy day.
It's
the foggy
foggy.
Ides of December.
Yeah.
So we're a little foggy today ourselves.
Yeah, we are for some reason.
I know. Well, I think it's,
It's the weather.
It's the weather. It's the winter weather. That's happening right there.
The holiday fog is upon us.
It is. But we've got a show. We're going to shine like a beacon of light through that fog today. We got a great show lined up for you today. The Night Ministry has served Chicago's homeless population for nearly 50 years, providing human connection, housing support, and health care to our neighbors who are unhoused or experiencing poverty. And we thought it'd be a good idea to have President and CEO Carol J. Sharp on the show to talk about their efforts and about what's going on in Chicago around there.
Always good to know.
Always good to know what's going on there.
Yeah.
And Brave Space Alliance is the Black-led, trans-led LGBTQ Center on the south side of Chicago, providing affirming, culturally competent, for us, by us services. And Channyn Lynn Parker is going to be joining us in the second hour. And boy, oh boy, I cannot wait to have these two dum-dums.
Me too. It's so fun.
I love them so much. Y'all got to run for your maracas. Get out the cocktail shaker and prepare to be Samba-sized. Samba, Bamba. Okay, so think like Sergio Mendes meets the B-52s. It's an 8-piece Latin-flavored retro crazy band that is back after a long hiatus to celebrate their 30th anniversary on Wednesday, December 18th at Martyrs. And our good buddies Richard Knight Jr. and Victor Salvo are going to be joining us in studio.
Yay! We love in studio.
We love in studio guests,
We
yes.
can really
And we would
get up
love,
close and personal.
I know, and we would love to hear from you. So give us a call at 773-763-9278. The number again is 773-763-9278. Of course, you can find us on Facebook where we are coming at you alive. Just head on over to Out Chicago Radio, and while you're there, give us a click and a like and a share and all that good stuff. But if that doesn't float your boat, you can always tune in on WCPT AM 820. And while you're at it, follow WCPT and our sister network, Heartland Signal, on all of the social medias. There we go. How are you doing there?
Well, I'm in the fillet of the holiday.
In the fillet
of the fillet of the holiday parties.
What is the fillet of the
This is the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Every night.
Wow.
A holiday extravaganza of some sort.
All righty. Well, there we go.
Yeah, including tonight, our WCPT, very first in our time here, holiday party.
I know.
Yeah, they're actually having one. I know you got to work. I'm going to represent for us.
Good.
Yeah, it's a bowling party.
I love bowling, but my bowling score is a great golfing score.
Scott,
and my golf score is a great bowling score.
We are two peas in a pod
There we
because
go.
I'm fairly athletic in a lot of things, but bowling has never been one of Devin.
Yeah, Devin, what about?
I make up for you guys. In high school, I went to state for bowling and had a bowling scholarship.
Will you be on my team tonight?
Wait.
So my fun fact, my old job, we had a company party, and up until the 7th frame, I had a perfect game going until my boss said, "Devin, are you bowling a perfect game?" I'm like, "Don't talk to me right now."
Oh, no.
So sure, Ellen, I will bowl with you.
Thank you.
Wait, you
make
got
up
a
for you.
scholarship?
Yeah, I got a bowling scholarship back in high school.
Oh, my God.
I love that.
See, and he's going to be on my team. Kathy's a pretty good bowler as well. So
there you go.
So you won't be just hanging. I won't leave you hanging. Kathy.
That was like a couple years ago. The Snack Factory had our store party was a bowling thing, and people were like, "Oh, well, you know." For some reason, not for some reasons, because I'm older than most everybody there. I was like with some of the older folks, and I was like, "Oh, come on, Jason, I'll play with you." This dude shows up with his own ball. Like he's on a bowling league. I'm like, "Oh, damn."
My mom had her own ball. It said Venus on it.
I think Phyllis had one.
Yeah, my mom was in for her company. They had a bowling league, and she had her own ball in her little bag, and it was very cute.
I love bowling.
I had an aversion to it because in grade school, the kids wanted to go on, you could choose if you wanted to go on this bowling field trip, and I chose not to go.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just thought it didn't appeal to me. I don't know what it was. And I just had a mental block about it. And then, ironically, my first job in radio was at WXRT in 1982. The very first holiday party, and we had one every year, was a bowling party.
Come on now.
Was a bowling party. So
all right.
Maybe this is an omen. Maybe this is my last.
Maybe. Oh no, I don't think it's your last one.
No.
I think this is maybe the time that you shine.
Yes,
you shine today. That's what's going to be happening. See if they can put the little bumpers in.
Oh, yeah, for the kiddies? Yeah, maybe they'll do that for me.
We'll do that. We'll put little bumpers there.
Devin and Kathy don't need those, so I'll play with the big boys and girls. That'll be fun.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, come on now.
So, it's a lot of parties. I saw, last Sunday night, we went and saw Betty Levette at the Old Town School of Music. She is a wonderful singer with an incredible story. I read her autobiography a few years ago. I think I mentioned that last week. But always a great time at the Old Town School of Folk Music. And, Wells Kaufman is now the CEO over there.
Yeah.
So we should get him on the show and to talk about what he's going to do. And then the extravaganza that I talked about, the filet of, I'm in the filet right now in the middle of the holiday parties. We saw Jane Lynch Thursday night.
Fabulous. At Ye Olde
Swinging
Steppenwolf.
Little Christmas live in concert.
Let me tell you, that album is fantastic.
She was hawking the CD at the end. I'm thinking, even a Emmy-winning TV star.
Girl, it's all about the hustle. It's all about the hustle.
$20 CDs.
Come on now. It's a good CD.
It's a lot of original music. Tony Guerrero is her band leader, and he writes. They did a lot of original. They did some other songs, but a lot of original songs of Tony's. It's Jane Lynch, Kate Flannery of The Office fame, and Tim Davis, who is a fabulous singer. And I didn't realize that he was the vocal orchestrator of all the Glee songs. So over 800 songs.
So it's his fault.
It's his fault.
Okay.
It's his fault.
There we go.
And it's a fun show. I will say that I saw her at City Winery before COVID in this same show. It's a real different vibe in a theater than you are.
I bet it is, because we were because we saw the show at Windy City Winery. We had her on before.
Yeah, we did. We had her on the show.
Was it before COVID?
It was before COVID.
Are you kidding me? Has it been that long?
It's been that long.
Oh my
I know. That's the marker now. First it was before 9/11. Now it's before COVID. But sitting in a theater like Steppenwolf, even though it was funny because I've never seen the Steppenwolf theater look so casually dressed, because usually I'm there for press night, opening night, and people are pretty. But they weren't. It's a Thursday night. Was the opening night of this 4-night stand. They're not as you as a comedian would be like, oh, this is kind of a dead crowd.
Was it?
A little bit. I think it's
Thursday was still cold.
Thursday was kind of cold, and it's Thursday, and but. It was a fun time. They warmed up near the end. There was a sing-along near the end. So, anyway, you got one more chance to catch it over at Steppenwolf. It was packed. It was absolutely filled.
A friend of mine was there on Thursday night, and she just had the best time. Oh, actually, she went Friday night.
Friday night, yeah. A better crowd on Friday night.
I'm sure, maybe.
Yeah, I know for sure. But anyway, that was a lot of fun. And then dinner with great friends on Marge Halpern being one of them, who we've had on the show with Indivisible Chicago. Marge and her husband hosted. It was her her birthday, actually, and she hosted with our little dining group of liberal fun lovers. And
gotta love that.
We really did. Usually we're always talking politics, but we kind of saved it till the end. We got a little. But everybody is in the same mind. Scott, I don't know about your friends, but mine are all. News is on an as-needed basis. People are really wanting to just kind of hunker down with family and friends and the positive thoughts that they can, conjure up and the positive memories and the finding the joy, which we need right now more than ever. And it's a common sentiment that I've seen among everybody. People in journalists. People in media. They just I'm trying not to. I'm just trying to live my life. And as I mentioned, our pup has been having some health issues and Kathy's mom having some health issues. And it really brings it back to what really matters and what you can actually control and worry about. And that's your family, your health, and the things that are truly important in this 100%, world.
100%. So, 100%.
And it's an odd time. The holidays bring about... a lot of joy, but also for a lot of people, it can be a difficult time.
100%.
Yeah. So,
I totally get that. That is why I think I'm totally into. We talked about Christmas albums last week, but that Squirrel Nut Zippers.
Yeah.
Christmas album.
I got to check it out.
I think you would really enjoy it just because it's got a little New Orleans kind of vibe going with it. But one thing that I love so much about it is that it captures the sadness of the season as well. A lot of people, this is a joyful time, but for a lot of people, it's not. Lately, for the past couple of weeks, all I've been doing is I want to give my mom a call.
I know. I've been, Scott,
have you been having that?
I wanted to call her so many times lately.
Yeah. And I'm like,
okay. And I really forgot that I couldn't for a second.
Yeah, me too. I was like, I'll give mom a call. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
At the dinner party, someone was talking about parents. I said, I think about my parents literally every single day. I think about my mom and dad, even if it's a fleeting thought. And, that's what memories are for.
Well, and that's what's great about it. Yeah. You can have your own little conversations with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I understand. Yeah. I get it. And also this weather today. Come on. It is fucking
It is a little foggy.
Weird.
Yeah. It's a little depressing. But,
yeah. So what else was going on? Because I did the exact opposite. I'm no.
Oh, nothing?
Nope. No, not
a nothing.
Nope.
Yeah.
I had to unplug and I just didn't want to be around people.
Well, this is just a run here. Then after tomorrow night, we're going to the Vic Theater 40th anniversary party.
Oh, wow.
It opened 40 years ago as a music venue. And the original people that started booking it, they were my clients when I was working at XRT in sales. And it's turned into this 300 people and everybody related to the Vic Theater. So it should be a media blast and a lot of radio and music people. So that's tomorrow night. And then Tuesday we're going to Manuel Cinema's Christmas Carol at the Studebaker.
You haven't seen it yet, have you?
I have never seen it. Now, I have to tell you, I almost said, Kath, if you want, I know that we've got a lot going on. I don't want to overburden. If you want us to maybe bow out, she goes, no, I think it'd be kind of fun to see the puppets. People love it.
Yeah, and I saw it 2 years in a row. I cannot wait for you to see the show.
Good. So we are going to that.
I cannot wait for you to see it. It is one of the most wonderful. It is perfect for the holidays. Again, captures the sadness, but also the joy and. Visually, it's just so exciting.
Everybody has said that, so I RSVP'd yes, and we will be doing that, and then we'll hang tight until Friday night. Andrew Saw's Cosmic Cowboy Holiday Extravaganza at the Hideout.
Lonesome holiday shows happening.
So that's it. Just those few more things.
All right,
and then the holiday.
Have you? Okay. Well, have you done any holiday shopping?
I did it all pretty much online.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah, yes.
I haven't.
I bought Kathy, I got everything, honey. I bought everything that I wanted to buy. We're trying to, our dog has heavy medical bills.
Right.
For chemo because she was diagnosed with lymphoma a couple weeks ago. So we have decided we are really trying to tone it down.
Oh,
we are really trying. Our gift is extending our pup's life.
Oh, yeah.
And that is
totally get that.
An important gift. So we're just buying little things for each other.
Well, there we go. Did you set a limit?
We set a limit. We've already busted through it.
Of course. Okay, yeah, there we are. Because
we had to confess to each other. Are we still staying with that limit? She goes, well, I went a little over too. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. There we go.
So how about you? What do you mean you're shopping for? Do you shop for a lot of people? I know you shop for Jerry, of course. And
yeah, well, no, I haven't so Jerry, I have to shop for Jerry, I think. But because we just made some major purchases, we got a new dishwasher, we got a new sofa, we've got all this stuff kind of
so it's just get some little tiny stocking stuffery things that are thoughtful that they might like.
So that, and then we do a name draw for the the family, because we're celebrating Boxing Day
on the 26th.
On the 26th, yeah, because my sister is a little busy on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Yes,
being a priest. So yes, so she's a little busy, and the kids, her kids, my niece and nephew, they've got families of their own, so they've got other things to do. So we're all going to get together on
where?
At my nephew's house in Des Plaines.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so we got people coming down from
Iowa,
from my sister's coming in
Wisconsin.
from Iowa, people from Wisconsin.
I know where everybody lives.
I know, there you are.
How about brother?
I don't think I've not heard from him.
Oh.
I have not heard from him. So who knows? He's a part of the name draw. I did not get his name.
And aren't you thrilled?
I'm happy about that. But now I'm kind of panicking because I also I like to make things.
Yeah.
For people.
Like toffee and candy and things?
Sometimes cookies, but mostly it's one year I made garlic confit and gave jars of, garlic confit out to neighbors and friends. Or I like to make we've got this special salt that we use. It's basically just salt and Szechuan peppercorns and chili peppers, and then you blend it all up and you use it to finish on stuff. So I like to, because me, I like to cook.
Yeah, of course.
And so I've got a couple of things that I want to be making. So I got to do that. I got to try to find the time. I do have time, but then I don't, because we also have next week we have friends of ours who they live in Texas. They're coming back here, and they're getting married. Which is
during the holidays?
During the holidays. Well, they live in Texas, and it's, they're a little concerned that they won't be able to get married. So they're doing that. So we're having a thing with them on Saturday, and it's we're making it big, we're doing a little celebration feast that's happening. So that's going on, and then I totally forgot that my birthday's coming up.
I got to figure. I didn't forget.
I did, but I'm always what am I going to do? So it's my own holiday fillet, but I just but this weekend, instead of going out and being productive out in the world, I hunkered down because it was so cold.
Yes, it was.
And I just decided I cooked up a storm. I made a caramelized onion prosciutto and pear.
I love that
galette kind of situation with a little Roquefort cheese.
You could bring some of that in,
I could, but then I couldn't eat it.
And there's none left, I'm sure.
Yeah, there we are. Yeah. There we go. So did that. I sent you a picture of a lasagna disaster that happened.
Did you work that out?
I worked that out. Yeah, I was making a spinach lasagna.
Did you do decapitation?
I had to decapitate it because I'm sitting I had this whole big plan. I was supposed to go to this potluck, so I made some gojere to bring over to them. I was
gojere?
Yes.
For those, I don't know what gojere.
For the non-gay.
And that would be, I'm gay, but I don't know. Do you know, Devin, what gojere is? No. And I know a lot about cooking. And I'm gay, and I don't know what gojere is.
They're just basically, it's just gay for little cheese puff pastry kind of things.
Oh, okay. I know what a cheese puff. Cheese.
You make a pot of choux. And,
pot of choux.
And they're little cheese balls. So
I love that.
Yeah. So I made a cheddar chipotle
rosemary.
An eclair,
is a
kind
pot
of like a profiterole.
But it's got
so
savory.
Little balls.
Okay,
little balls, and I made those, and
I want some of those
it was great.
Balls.
And I was okay, I need to make because I also like to prep for the week. Meal batch because I work and Jerry's home alone and he's got to do all this stuff. So I was making this lasagna. And yesterday, I'm I'm just working on the show. What are we going to say today? And about 30 minutes later, I'm going oh no, I took my lasagna and I put it on broil and I ran over to look at it, and it was, we'll just call it Cajun.
Watch carefully, they always say, when you have it on broil.
It's true. Well, it became a very Cajun lasagna, and it was hilarious. And I was just laughing, like, that is so funny, because it was literally, it was blackened for sure. Sent Ellen some pictures. Photo. I'm like, here you go, this is a mistake. But so just, it was kind of like, all I wanted to do was just like hang out with my dog. Yesterday I had the neighbors' dogs over because they had their annual, we're going to go downtown and spend too much money kind of day. So their 2 dogs came over, so we had like this big old, we call it the good boy gang. They were reunited, so just kind of hung out, made a fire, cooked, and just had a lovely time. Jerry had gone to Seattle for one night. It was one night. I know.
It's a long way to go.
I know. There's a little story. Yeah. Couldn't this have been a Zoom? But anyway, so I actually had like 24 hours of like being alone time, which was wonderful, and what I needed to revitalize and restore.
Yes, I might be having some alone time myself.
Yeah,
starting
that's
a week from
really
today.
Interesting. I've kind of noticed, especially like during the holidays when it's really, really busy at the snack factory. Like, I am surrounded by so much humanity all the time, and I feel kind of inundated. So like, all I want to do is just go and hide away. So I did that.
Good. I'm glad you accomplished that goal.
I did.
And then New Year's is around the corner, and
I know.
So much going on.
Oh, I know. Do I know? But yes. But it was a lovely week, and just kind of, again, slowly had the IV drip.
Do you like the IV drip of the Yuletide? I bought this shirt after the show last week.
That's great.
I went to one of those Christmas markets. The proceeds go to Streetwise.
Oh, fabulous.
All the proceeds, and different artists came up with this one. I thought this spoke to me. So
I love it. I love it.
You can see it there.
It's rise, resist, persist, repeat. There we are. Yes, indeed.
Yes,
there we are.
So speaking of persisting, we should persist to have a
commercial break, probably. Yes, I think we should do that. And we're going to open up the phone lines, too. So we want to hear from you, 773-763-9278. Again, there's so much going on in the world. It just has everybody going, what's happening? So we want to hear from you. What's got you gobsmacked this week? Give us a call, 773-763-9278. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, there's more Out Chicago right here on WCPT, Heartland Signal.
The Sports Cubicle.
Here in WCPT, we're fortunate enough to have the new head coach of DePaul University, Chris Holtman. You have that tough December where you're going to have 2 conference games, and then does that seem like it's going to work for you? Are you going to be having up tempo, or do you even know that yet?
We are really trying to play with great pace, more so than really at any point in my career. That's something we've really emphasized since the summer.
The Sports Cubicle with Mike Mercado, Devin Tingle, Dan Marver, and Paul Shivari. Sunday nights, 9 p.m. on WCPT.
Check up on health with Chris Whitting.
1 in 4 adults experiences some form of mental illness in a given year, and about 60% of those receive no treatment. Andrew Sperling from the National Alliance on Mental Illness says while schizophrenia is the most common serious mental illness, major depression is a close second.
People will experience depression over their lifetime, but when it falls into severe clinical depression and recurs more often, those are people we define as having major depression. About 9 million Americans living with major depression. And it can also be associated with suicidal ideology. It's obviously very dangerous, and suicide is an enormous killer in America. Up to 38,000 Americans this year will take their own life. Certainly more than automobile accidents, more than homicide. Huge mortality associated with depression.
Treatment is vital. More than 90% of those who die by suicide had 1 or more mental disorders. With Checkup on Health, I'm Chris Whitting.
Hey there, folks. It's Carrie Joy with your Work Money Minute and a tip about saving money when you are renting a car. So you know how you get to the rental counter and then they ask you if you want to prepay for gas so you don't have to bring the car back full. Well, I used to get sweaty in those moments as I wasn't sure what the right money choice was. Prepaying for gas at the rental counter? Not worth it. First off, rental companies often charge more per gallon on the prepay than local gas stations do at the pump. And even if they're about equal, fees or taxes on your rental can tip the scales against prepaying. And you'd have to return that car completely empty to get the full value of buying prepaid gas. Otherwise, you're just buying gas for Avis and Budget or whoever. Quick note, make sure you have time to refill the tank before you return the rental. If you don't prepay and you don't fill up, they are going to charge you like they have refilled that car with liquid gold. For more tips, head to workmoney.org. Till next time, this is Carrie Joy saying, take good care.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Welcome back. I'm Paul Oakley-Stovall. You're listening to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller, rolling along on this foggy. I guess, is it the Ides? It is the Ides of December.
Is it?
Yeah, it's the 15th, right? That's the Ides. Yeah.
The
Better
Ides.
than the Ides of March.
I know the Ides of March. I guess it's any...
I mean, I think we got to have Ides somewhere.
Ides. Ides to you.
Ides to you as well. There we are. Y'all, this is just like it has been a very kooky week. The world kind of feels... Is it just me? Or does it feel like the world is like trying to reboot and there's like a total glitch in the matrix going on? There's like so much stuff happening that just makes me wonder, like, what's happening? What's going on here? Yeah. So again, what has dropped your jaw this week, Ellen?
Well... This Luigi Mangione thing has been kind of, it's something you can't, it's a car accident you can't take your eyes off of kind of phenomenon.
Yes and no. I mean, I don't know. How do you feel about this? So if you're not, if the name Luigi Mangione is not ringing a bell, I don't know where you've been, but he was arrested this week and identified as a suspect in the murder of Brian Thompson, CEO of United Healthcare. And he's kind of turned into a bit of a folk hero for some people. You
know, this last election, not to draw complete parallels, but it shows that we have a populace of humans in this country who are enamored with TV stars, people that apparently they think are rich, people that are, in this case, handsome. This is the mentality of our country. We are. Oh,
but that's not just unique to this last election. Like, that's just been going on.
No, this has been going on for a while. But the election proves, again, that like a lot of people that voted for Trump thought that he was strong because he's a big man. Just this. And some people still think he's successful because they watched him on television. This is the mentality that we are in, that we are living in right now. Luigi, it represents a couple of things. For one, he's a handsome, good-looking, educated young man.
He is very hot.
And of course, the picture with his six-pack didn't hurt his reputation at all. But this country is in this mentality, and again, hearkening back to why they voted the way they did. It's sort of like the Bonnie and Clyde era of the Depression, when people were rooting them on, even though they were murdering people and robbing banks, because they felt that, this was them. There was part of their brain that wished they could rob a bank, that they felt nobody was, doing anything for them. And this the murder of this, I mean, again, murder is murder. No one can condone murder. But there's people in this country who have felt like they are, those that have been unfortunately struck with catastrophic illness within themselves or their family. Luckily, I have not had to deal with that. We forget that people do, and it's mentally and physically, financially draining on them. And this has represented for people. This has been a flashpoint for people that are just angry about what has gone on in this country. And, I'm getting angry about it too, because I'm hearing, everybody's telling their stories. I had something that was denied me, and instead of being healthy now, I'm a mess. I have to take all these drugs, or if the surgery, or if the United Healthcare, whatever insurance company would have, granted me what my doctors wanted, I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in. And it is really opening up a wound. And so I think there's a couple things at play here. Once he's telegenic and handsome, and he's also did something that people are so fed up with right now, and in the state of this country, as you said, they feel like they wish that they could, make a change here with but it's not, you can't condone murder, but a lot of people, you can see they wanted to get him out of jail. They wanted to help fund his defense. It's
right.
insane.
I mean, it's really like, it's kind of cuckoo bananas, and it really like, for some reason, it really, like, it kind of hurts my heart, this whole thing, like seeing everything on social media after this, like when everything was happening, when they made the arrest, and when this whole manhunt that was going on, and I don't know if it's because the comments seem so flip. There is some sort of like anonymity behind posting something on Threads or Twitter or whatever it is, that you're safe, and it's like free speech, and yes, I get all of that, but you're also like condoning murder.
Exactly, I know, it's crazy. I mean, but Chris Rock, Saturday Night Live's been horrible the last 2 weeks. I've had some good ones this year, but the last two were not. But we watched his monologue, and he talked about Luigi, of course, and he said, sometimes drug dealers get killed. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like it feels. The reaction feels just weird and wrong.
It does.
I mean,
I keep thinking about, he does have a wife and kids and friends and colleagues, and yes, his job, he represented something bigger that is really a sad state of affairs in this country called the healthcare system. And it, like I said, it's just opened up an incredible wound. And people are just looking for, they're looking for justice in all the weird ways. And it's not healthy. I mean, you can't go around killing CEOs of companies that we don't agree with. I mean, that society is going down a bad road if that's happening.
I guess that's kind of what has just stayed with me, just because it seems like, I get the whole like Bonnie and Clyde thing there. I get the whole, Robin Hood, criminals have been like the earliest form of celebrities in this country.
Al Capone.
It's like it's some sort of like there's notoriety, there's something that's happening, and there is some sort of fandom, which is a weird thing to say about that, but it just feels like, I don't know. It just feels, maybe it's just the frustration that things aren't happening within the government of, trying to come in and like make ways with healthcare, or trying to, help out with insurance, or, but it just feels weird.
Of course
it feels
it is.
So weird.
But it is bringing about a lot more discussion again about the how messed up, and bringing to everybody's, there's so many subjects that we constantly have floating around in our heads, whether it's a war, whether it's Israel, whether it's inflation. There's a lot to occupy our brains. But, when you hear about how the profits that these insurance companies are making, it is a crime. It is a crime. And when people have had his kind of surgery, I guess, and I don't know exactly, but one of the things I heard is the guy's in pain. He's had that x-ray that he carries around with him shows that he's had some pins put in his spine. And when people are in pain, you can't, it affects them mentally, I'm not saying you need to go out and it doesn't rationalize murder, but there's a lot at play here. And there's a lot of people that are relating to him, sadly. Sadly on a lot of counts. I'm sad that the healthcare industry, the insurance industry, we're all about capitalism in this country, but it has gotten it's taken too much precedence over human suffering.
It's going to get even worse, I feel.
Well, we've got an administration that's all they care about is yes.
How much is the cabinet worth? Like some sort of like $30 billion, $300 billion.
This is what the 77 million people wanted.
It's just,
They don't know what they wanted.
I don't know.
They don't know what they brought on. They had no concept.
They don't get it. But so this. Anyways, so what do you think out there? How's this been sitting with you? Give us a call, 773-763-9278. One of the things that has me feeling really just like, are you kidding me? It's good old Nancy Mace.
Oh, gosh, what a piece of work she is. Huh?
Okay, so earlier this week, She claimed that she was assaulted by a pro-trans right activist and had him arrested at the Capitol. Nancy Mace from South Carolina alleged that James McIntyre, a 33-year-old foster care rights advocate from Chicago, physically assaulted her during a public event. He shook her hand. That's what he did. That is what he did. And she's out there sending out, like, talk about, again, the power of social media and the anonymity or whatever, being able to say whatever you want. She wrote, I was physically accosted at the Capitol tonight by a pro-trans man. One new brace for my wrist and some ice for my arm, and it'll heal just fine. The Capitol Police arrested the guy. Your trans violence and threats on my life will only make me double down. FAFO. She showed up with like her arm in a sling.
Yeah.
The next day, people are like, he shook your hand.
In aggressively and in an exaggerated manner.
Yes. It was just, I'm like, what? So it's very clear. Like, again, for some reason, Nancy Mace is really doubling down. Like, she's trying to be the new MTG, I think. I think that is what's happening right there. It really is, because they're the ones that are like screaming loudest about like all this like anti-trans stuff that's happening. And I'm like, this person shook your hand. You were at an event that is supposed to be there for foster care kids, and trans kids are part of the foster care system. And if you were just saying that, like, hey, this is a safe space, you're all included, we're all here to help you out, except for that guy right over there, it just boggles the mind. And how they are really aiming this new administration. I'm so happy that Channyn Lynn Parker from Brave Space Alliance is going to be joining us, because like all of this foolishness that's happening for a population that is the most vulnerable, and they're just minding their business.
They just want to live their authentic lives, and yet there's a whole, we've talked about it ad nauseum. They targeted the trans community in these election ads to the point where they just struck fear into these swing state people that can't think for themselves. And we're stuck with what we got right now.
So that's what's kind of going on with me. Let's find out what's going on with Steve in the Gold Coast. Welcome. You're on Out Chicago.
Well, I wanted to make a couple of points. One, I agree with you. You look at the calendar, you're like, okay, wow, I've got to go to this luncheon for a holiday party clients, and then I've got to go to this friends and thing that they're having on the weekend, and then there's the family. And then I remind myself that come January 1, the world just stops, because then we're just stuck in those like 3 months of, Chicago, the thing that makes it horrible to be here during that period, because there's nothing going on. The parties are over, people are in debt, the weather's cold, and the holiday season is over. So, enjoy this while you can. If your biggest complaint is I've got too many holiday parties to go to, hey, that's a real first world problem. So, enjoy it.
It's a good one.
Trust me, I do like them. I have fun. I mean, I look forward to it.
Are you kidding me? Like, Ellen loves to go to a party.
Yeah,
she loves an event. Yeah.
I like
and
all
also,
of it.
just to speak what you're saying, the gloom that happens in January through March, that's why I keep my Christmas tree up until March, because the glow is happy, it feels celebratory, and it helps with the dark Chicago winters. So, yeah, you got to find your own joy.
And
when you poll people about what city is great and why it is, Chicago always makes that list, and the only caveat is, winter, which really means January, February, and March, because December is nice. I mean, it's 45 degrees today.
Oh yeah,
so enjoy it. But the other thing that makes it bearable is because it's the holiday season. There are lights, there are people, the restaurants are full, the bars are full. People are out there, but in January, there are going to be more employees in a place than there are going to be customers, because that's just what it is.
Yep.
And then on a more serious note, I think you nailed it. This says more about this whole discussion about why Americans feel the way they do about this murder, as opposed to the murder itself. I mean, hundreds of people were killed that same week around this country, people whose names you'll never know. And this is all about, the insurance industry. And this company, unfortunately, had a really bad reputation in terms of having a really high rejection rate for claims. And
33%.
When you think about that, exactly. So when you think about that they employ an entire body of people, physicians and others, whose job it is to try and deny a claim, to find a reason so that you don't get your claim paid. And in doing so, the people who do best in that get bonuses, get trips. Could you imagine having that kind of a job? Oh, hey, honey, we're going to Hawaii. Why? Because I managed to deny more people than anyone else on my floor when it came to claims this year. I mean, really, how can you sleep with yourself? If that's the way that you're, defining success.
Yeah. Well, I think they sleep hanging upside down is kind of how they sleep.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we are the only Western industrialized country in the world that doesn't have a national health care system. You can go broke here if you get sick. And, and there's a saying, dying in America, slowly dying in America is a long and expensive proposition. So this is where we are. And there's no real attempt to try and reform this. We had the Affordable Care Act. It made a dent, but that's a start. It's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to join the civilized world where people get sick and they don't have to worry about losing everything because they get sick.
Yep, you said a mouthful there, Steve. Thank you so much for giving us a call.
Have fun at the holiday parties.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong.
Of course not. I mean, it's a factoid. I mean, this is a problem in this country. Insurance companies talk a great game until it comes time for them to pay.
Right, but it also like it's. You have this sort of an event. It is a murder, and you have such an incredibly passionate response from people, who are like, he had a coming kind of vibe, I'm gay, so I'm going to go to Chicago the musical. Like, he had it coming, like this whole thing. So you have this very big. He's turning into a folk hero kind of a vibe. You have this very big debate that's happening right now. So why do you think that when people that we elect into office and they try to run on a universal health care or a thing like that, then everybody's like, no, I don't want, I don't want
the
this one.
Republicans
Clearly, the Republicans
and
do that.
some Democrats who get funding from these big insurance companies, these lobbyists. I mean, it's all about money. It's just all about money. It's not about you. It's about money.
Yep. And as somebody who doesn't have a lot of money, I'm always like, how much is enough? How much is enough? What more do you need? I mean, really, what do you need?
The billions that you talked about that this cabinet, the proposed cabinet would be worth is just mind-boggling and kind of sad, in my opinion.
So, and again, how much do you need in order to be happy? And that's not going to be making you happy. Anyway.
It's a game. It's a game. The money is a game for people.
It is.
How many toys do you have before you die and that person wins?
Yeah. All right. Well.
On that happy note, happy holidays, everybody.
We should probably take a break. And when we come back, we're going to be speaking with President and CEO of the Night Ministry, Carol J. Sharp, about their work helping out Chicago's unhoused community. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Around the Town, Chicago, with Al Beslaw.
My dog eats dog food now. Bravo. She eats good. She does kibble and she does wet. But everything has to be topped with the farm to pet topping. You just sprinkle it on the top of her food. She comes running to it and starts gobbling up her food. I've even tried it. It's really...
And Frank's doing much better now. Okay.
My coat is really good.
His hair is shiny.
Sunday afternoons at 1 on WCPT 820.
Dive deeper into the heart of the news and stories at WCPT 820 and across the Midwest by checking out our website, heartlandsignal.com.
It's the coverage I can count on every time.
For the latest news updates, in-depth analysis, compelling stories, comprehensive election coverage, live streams, and thought-provoking opinions, head to heartlandsignal.com.
When I need to know, they're there.
They keep me informed and updated wherever I am.
Stay informed with WCPT 820, your go-to source for where facts matter.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to HIMSS.com/joy. That's HIMSS.com/joy for your free online visit.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
I'm Jay Nair with Tricone Chicago. Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, rolling along here. Hey, the Night Ministry has served Chicago's homeless population for nearly 50 years. Holy smokes. Providing human connection, housing support, and healthcare to our neighbors who are unhoused or experiencing poverty. And joining us now is the president and CEO of the Night Ministry, Carol J. Sharp. Carol, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for taking time out today to join us. It's been a hot minute. We love the work that the Night Ministry does here on Out Chicago. What can you tell our listeners, because you're relatively new, you came in last year. What was your journey that led you to working with the Night Ministry?
Yeah, that's a great question. And again, thank you again for having me this morning. So I am born and raised in Chicago. Spent a good portion of my childhood navigating a non-traditional journey on the south side of the city in a foster home to the north side of the city with my biological mom, who is from St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. And I have what I have called character building experiences. I've traveled to CPA, and I've been able to observe as a young child other people who are utilizing the CTA for shelter. And as I grew in my career, my work was centered on young people who are first in their family to go to college. And one of the things that you learn very quickly in that sector is that in order for a young person to thrive in the classroom, they need to have a stable living environment at home.
Yes.
And so, it was through those experiences and my personal experiences that truly led me to the Night Ministry and being able to provide this sort of foundational support so that individuals can be able to thrive in their lives.
Yeah. So, how exactly does the Night Ministry help? Because everything, your story sounds like, quite frankly, like a lot of people, who are, had. I grew up with economic uncertainty, and granted, it was in the suburbs, but it wasn't of St. Louis. It wasn't in Chicago. But your story is very, unfortunately, is prevalent. So what sort of work does the Night Ministry do to help out folks to achieve the stability?
Yeah, so like you explained at the top of the show, is that we have two pillars really around the work that we do, centered on housing and healthcare. But the foundation of our work is building those trusting relationships through that human connection. We provide services and resources to individuals to stay alive, stabilize, and transform their lives. And we serve more than 5,000 young people and adults really just this past year. We are offering free health care. We are a free and charitable clinic through our mobile health units across the city. We provide food, clothing, tents, and so much more. And then we have 2 shelters located on the near north side. So one is an emergency shelter. The other one is a transitional living program. And within that program, we have one that's centered on young people who are pregnant or parenting their young children, that helps them to move to a place of stability, becoming heads of households so that they can live and lead in their own lives.
So, Carol, has the population of the unhoused changed from your experience to today?
Yeah, well, it's changed in that the unhoused population is growing. We know that most recently it was estimated that over 68,000 individuals are living unhoused or being impacted by homelessness. We know that homelessness is deadly. And so, the lifespan of an unhoused individual is nearly 20 years shorter than those of us with housing in the state of Illinois. We're seeing that, our LGBTQ youth are twice as likely to be unhoused as their peers due to, unforeseen circumstances. And we are really trying to address those factors and really to ensure that we take the housing first model so that individuals have the opportunity to create that level of stability.
Yeah. So, does the night ministry? Because I know, I'm so glad that you brought up the LGBTQ population is overrepresented in the unhoused community, and I think over a quarter of the night ministry's youth clients are LGBTQ. Are you working with? Since the unhoused population is growing, it seems like this is something that we, as a city, need to come around. Are you partnering with any agencies or any other municipal groups to help find affordable housing? I know, years ago, there was the big tiny homes movement that was happening, to find affordable housing. How are you working with other agencies to help live out your mission?
Yeah, we are. In the city of Chicago, we have what's called a coordinated entry system. And so we work very closely with City of Chicago offices to ensure that we are helping to identify individuals who are facing homelessness and providing them with information and various entities like All Chicago and the Chicago Coalition for the Homelessness with information that ensures the individuals who are living in places like encampments are, first of all, eligible, right? So we help them to get their IDs, driver's licenses, Social Security cards, helping to sort of create that identity portfolio so that when the opportunities become available, then we're able to work through the city and through accelerated moving events to move them into stable living environments.
That's amazing.
We partner with the city through initiatives like the flexible housing pool. So we have a team that provides case management services to families who are benefiting from flexible housing funding and helping them to stay in the apartments that they've been living in now.
See, and this is why I really enjoy the work, again, that the night ministry does. You said earlier that the cornerstone of your mission is really making those human connections, because which is the heart of what you do, because it just seems that people who are experiencing homelessness, who might be having who are definitely having some financial trouble, sometimes just even being seen is the first step to being okay, I know this person cares for me, and that's such a huge part of the work that you do. Why? Do you have thoughts on that? Why? In the night ministry's perspective, why is that so important to create those human connections?
Yeah, well, people find themselves in unfortunate situations on a daily basis, and oftentimes it's one instance or one decision that ultimately changes the trajectory of their entire lives. And so the more that we can understand the stories of our neighbors, individuals who are navigating their journeys back to stability and whatever that means for them, right? We have to define our own personal journeys. And so understanding that helps us to personalize the experience for them. We don't make the assumption that everyone needs access to the exact same resources. We're talking about humans, right? And as humans, it's an evolving experience. And so as much as we can evolve as an organization, as a sector, then that's how we move the needle to really solving the larger issue there. And in order to do that, you have to do things like what we do at the night ministry, which is elevating the client voices. We are leading an initiative in partnership with the state of Illinois to develop a youth action board so that we understand what truly are the resources that have been most supportive to young people or individuals who've faced homelessness? And then how do we maximize those opportunities and make them more safe or more accessible so that individuals can gain access to them now and into the future? And so the ability for us to be able to evolve just in a manner that nonprofits do on a daily basis, right? It's a sort of ever-changing landscape. Our ability to do that is truly in alignment with the human experience because we're living, right? And things happen. The climate changes on day to day, and we know that we have to respond to that. And at the Night Ministry, we have a history of being nimble and really being able to respond to the needs as they change.
Well, and usually around this time of year, people are very, very, become very, very conscious about like donating to food banks and like helping out organizations like the Night Ministry. I also want to just again point out that people are in need 365, right. Just not this time of year. But if people today, right now, want to help out, how can folks help support the work of the Night Ministry?
Yeah, so today is December 15th, the last day of our Giving Tuesday campaign. We have a generous match from the Alvin H. Baum Family Fund. And so that means if you donate $20 today, it becomes $40, right? And so we are still receiving donations for Giving Tuesday. And so please visit our website at thenightministry.org if you'd like to give. We are also always accepting volunteers to help prepare and serve meals out on our mobile health unit, our mobile health buses in various communities, at our emergency shelter. There are opportunities to sign up to cook and serve meals to young people who might not have families or to adults who don't have access to families during the holiday season. It's December now, but we know that January, February, and sometimes March in Chicago can be brutal. Mm-hmm. And so we are receiving donations of winter hats, gloves, socks. These are survival essentials for individuals who have to face the bitter cold in the city of Chicago. And so we welcome all of our friends to join us on this journey by volunteering your time, donating to support our work. We are certainly grateful for it because it truly takes a collective effort in order for us to help those who need it the most. And you also have Lighting Up the Night, your big charity event on the Thursday, the 29th next year. I know that's an important fundraiser for you all, too. So people can probably go online and figure out a way to get tickets, correct? Absolutely, yes. We are seeking out sponsorship opportunities. It's our annual event, and it's an opportunity to really come and hear the stories and learn about how the funding truly impacts that long-term stability of individuals who face homelessness. You mentioned that we have been around for nearly 50 years. In 2026, we will be launching a larger initiative to celebrate our 50th year anniversary, and so we are excited about the future, and we welcome everyone to join us. Beautiful.
Well, Carol Sharp, we want to thank you so much for taking time out today to join us. And of course, thank you for all the incredible work that you and the Night Ministry do for our Chicago's unhoused community. If you want to help out, head to thenightministry.org. If you can make a donation, great. If you can donate your time, great. If you can donate like a coat or gloves, socks, all that stuff, head to thenightministry.org. Carol Sharp from the Night Ministry, thank you so much and happy holidays to you.
Thank you. Happy holidays. Thanks,
Carol. Thank you. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the second hour about Chicago right here on WCPT.
You know that you can listen to Chicago's Progressive Talk on WCPT AM 820. Stream us live at WCPT820.com and on the TuneIn Radio app. Or you can ask Alexa, Siri, or Google to play WCPT from TuneIn. But now you have another option. We're simulcasting our programming overnights, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. on WSBC AM 1240 for a clearer reception in and around the city. Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820. And now overnights on WSBC 1240 AM, where facts matter. From the heart of Chicago, it's WCPT 820. Progressive Talk Radio, where facts matter and voices fight for change. WCPT 820.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carton. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says Americans should not be concerned about a recent surge in drone sightings across the country. Mayorkas told ABC's This Week that rules have recently been changed, allowing drones to fly at night, which could be a reason why people are spotting them more often.
There are thousands of drones flown every day in the United States. Recreational drones, commercial drones. That is the reality.
He added that the Department of Homeland Security doesn't know of any foreign involvement in recent drone sightings, but it will keep Americans informed about any potential risks going forward. Despite this, Mayorkas said federal and state authorities would benefit from more legal authority to combat problematic drone activity. Senator Mitt Romney says he expects J.D. Vance will be the GOP presidential nominee in 2028. Romney made the prediction on CNN's State of the Union when asked about the future of the Republican Party after President-elect Trump's second term. The Utah senator and former party standard-bearer noted the vice president-elect is smart, well-spoken, and believes in the MAGA movement. Romney, who is retiring from Congress, also said both parties will have to reevaluate their messaging to voters following the last election. The suspect in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson has retained a high-profile attorney. We get details from Scott Carr.
Karen Friedman Agnifilo, who once served as Manhattan's chief assistant district attorney, will represent Luigi Mangione, her law group Agnifilo Intrader, confirming that Saturday, saying Agnifilo will not be making any statements at this time. Mangione has a preliminary hearing scheduled in Pennsylvania for December 23rd for charges related to a 3D printed gun and a fake ID.
Mangione's been fighting extradition to New York, where he faces murder charges. You're listening to the latest on NBC.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
You've been working hard all day and didn't have time to catch up on the news during work.
And that phone just wouldn't stop.
We've got you covered. Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive.
We will fight as many places and as many times as it takes to get this power back.
Joan Esposito, afternoons from 2 to 5 p.m., WCPT 820.
Think Theory Radio.
We're joined by Allie Mae Miller, hypnotherapist.
Hypnosis is portrayed in media in general. Manipulation, mind control. People think it's like a truth serum. My clients describe it as they're in control the whole time. It's definitely not a truth serum. The client decides what they share with me, even in a state of hypnosis.
Think Theory Radio with Damian Perdue. Saturdays at 6 p.m. on WCPT 820.
This is a WCPT Moment in Labor. On April 1st, California Governor Gavin Newsom raised the state's minimum wage to $20 an hour for fast food workers. And hate to break your conservative uncle's heart, but this is not leading to the downfall of businesses in California. The average hourly rate in California is $38 an hour, meaning many companies already pay more than $20 an hour. Just not many of those are fast food restaurants. And it will not kill the small business industry, as only companies with 60 or more locations will be required to pay workers $20 an hour. It's not just teenagers working in the fast food service, and it never has been, as in 2021, the average age of a fast food worker was 26 years old. But sadly, the average cost of living in California is $68,500, while McDonald's makes $25.4 billion a year, and Wendy's makes $2.18 billion a year. Just a little something you can leave in your uncle's comment section. This has been a WCPT Moment in Labor. We are working for your rights.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And welcome back to the second hour of Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller, rolling along on a foggy day. Mm-hmm. That's my foggy day song on the Ides of December. Yeah. Okay. I'm still workshopping that.
Yes, keep
I'm
workshopping
still workshopping that.
It's going to need a little more.
I know. Well, let me tell you, we're going to have some delightful music and love
coming up
this hour. A little bit later on this hour, we're going to have two. I'm going to call them pillars of the LGBTQ community here in Chicago.
That's what they are.
Yeah, they are. Richard Knight Jr. and Victor Salvo. Not only are they pillars of the community here in Chicago, they're also crazy stupid fun. And they've got a band, Samba, Bamba. It's kind of like Sergio Mendes meets the B-52s, and they are celebrating their 30th anniversary later this week at Martyrs. They're going to be in studio to chat with us about making the Yuletides gay. There we are. Again, I'm going to just keep saying it all season long.
As you
Make
should.
the Yuletide gay.
Why not?
And Mary. There we are. But before we do that, I'm very, very happy to be back on the show. So Brave Space Alliance is the Black-led, trans-led LGBTQ plus center on the south side of Chicago, providing affirming, culturally competent, for us, by us services. And I'm super duper happy to have Channyn Lynn Parker joining us today. Again, Channyn, welcome back to the show.
Hello, Scott. Happy holidays and all that other good stuff.
Happy holidays and all that jazz.
Happy holidays, Channyn.
How are you?
Yes, happy holidays.
How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, man, how am I doing? I'm doing well. I'm hanging in there.
Well,
I
don't
really
let go.
am.
Don't let go.
Yeah, that's right. I'm happy to be here with the both of you. But yeah, no, doing really well, doing all the work. Things are going well.
Yes.
Things are going well.
So what is new with Brave Space Alliance these days?
Oh, wow. What is new? So we are taking care of our people, as always, through our 4 pillars of dignity, health, housing, food, and identity. We are really on the roll with ramping up some of our medical and behavioral health services. We are housing folks. We're feeding folks. But also, too, more recently, we are really supporting a large influx of the migrant community. Oh. So we are really, really, really on it in terms of taking care of the most vulnerable citizens around us.
So what particular efforts are you doing when you're working with the new immigrant population community that's coming in?
Yeah. So if you could imagine, right, being in a new place with limited resources and limited ability to speak the language, you would be in need of just those essential services. So we're providing food supports. We're providing identification supports. We're providing resource supports, even some of those medical referrals. So we've been really intentional about hiring folks who actually also are Spanish speakers to help navigate the language barriers and get folks to where they need to go. But also, more endearing, we're seeing migrant folks want to volunteer at Brave Space. And it is the cutest thing because even though we may not necessarily understand each other speaking, the heart translates between the two individuals, right? So it is really cool to just see folks want to come in, support Brave Space while we're also supporting them in accessing their essential services as well. So it's really cool.
So just to clarify, Channyn, are these LGBTQ plus migrants? Is that?
So we are. Yeah, that's a great question. We are seeing LGBTQ plus migrants. We actually have a few trans-identified women who are also, new arrivals. But we're also just seeing families, right? We're seeing mothers with infants and children who are coming to us for resources. So we provide haircuts, right? Dignified services, clothing items, all of those things that you and me and everybody else needs on a regular basis.
So are they aware of what this new administration is planning for undocumented migrants in this country? Is it something that is on their radar? And what are you doing to help soothe them and reassure them, if you can, in these trying times?
No, that's a great question. So I am pretty certain that they are aware, right? I'm pretty certain that the individuals who provide more of the round-of-the-clock care probably have informed them of these upcoming changes. Have those things been discussed with me directly from our population of folks that we're supporting from the migrant community? No. But what I can say is that peripherally speaking, right, for individuals who are, who have been in this country a long time, folks who are undocumented but have been raised here, have gone through our systems here, they are petrified. Yeah. They are petrified at the actions and the threat of this incoming administration. The border czar, for God's sakes, just came to Chicago, made it his first stop.
Yeah.
And really threatened not only citizens, but our own governor. I mean, it doesn't get any deeper than that.
Yeah.
That was scary, and it just made me sick to see him here.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Which, makes the work that Brave Space Alliance does even more important. How's everybody doing? Because I know all of my trans friends are, and family, and like friends who have trans youth, their kids are growing up, and, with this specter of this new regime that's going to be coming in, just how are folks handling it right now? I mean, I know it's all just kind of like, soothsaying and like, doom and prophesying, but they're also being very, very clear that they have a very anti-trans agenda. You've got, stupid bathroom things happening in the Capitol building. You have stupid Nancy Mace saying that she was assaulted by a handshake. You've got just fill in the blanks. Just how are folks doing?
They are scared.
Yeah.
And the scariest thing is the uncertainty.
Yeah.
Sure. You refer to as a specter, and it's so true, right? There's just this looming dark presence that hangs over us, and we don't know what to do, what to anticipate, or where to go. What's happening in the SCOTUS right now even is the attempt to roll back protections that we've fought decades for. So whether that's LGBTQ plus rights, voting rights, bodily autonomy, every decision that this SCOTUS will make will reverberate through people's daily lives. And the people who voted for this administration don't even recognize that they voted for their own demise. This isn't just about you and us too, right?
Yes.
Like, this is going to hit all of us. This is going to hit all of us, and even the people who believed that they were voting in their favor, which is just beyond me.
Right.
I know.
Get it.
I agree.
Yep, agreed on that one. But okay, but we are fortunate enough that we live here in Illinois. We live here in Chicago, more particularly, where there are protections for us. Do you see other organizations coming to Brave Space Alliance for like, okay, can you help us navigate the tools, like with equity trainings, cultural trainings about how do we help support our trans siblings here in Chicago and beyond? Or like, what have you been seeing within Chicago, the Chicagoland area?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. One, as our tagline says, as our title is Brave Space Alliance, we are right now encouraging our partners in community, philanthropic, corporate, and beyond to be brave. When we think about tyrannical regimes, the first thing that is often told to folks is do not comply early. So we're telling people, first and foremost, don't comply early. What we're hearing from community leaders, whether that is organizers, whether those are, again, corporate folks, is we want to continue and stay the course. We want to continue to do DEI, which is under threat, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We want to continue to support marginalized communities in the way that we know to be right. But we're scared. So right now, the response that we can give is there's power in numbers. And that this administration is hell-bent on creating division because division creates silos, and silos make you alone. And when you're alone, you're more susceptible to being attacked. So right now, we all have to band together with our resources, with our support, and pose as a united front against the onslaught that could be happening to us all right now.
Yeah. So how has that response been? I mean, I know, again, Brave Space Alliance has always been a on this foggy day, a beacon of light, to like leading the charge. Like we are leading the charge, like you are leading the charge. Do you have other, the community leaders, the corporations that you were saying, the businesses, do you have people who are like, we have your back? Is that sort of a response that you're seeing as well?
We absolutely do. We absolutely do. And, I hope that statement of we have your back ages well. Because when backs are up against the wall, I believe that well-intended statements can go to the wayside. And all I can say is we're approaching this with believing eyes, but we are waiting and seeing and hoping that folks stand by that. It's so essential for advocacy groups, for leaders, for allies to stay vigilant. We've got to educate our communities. And also, too, we've got to prepare for any setbacks. But also, too, I want to remind folks, prepare for wins as well. Because we have always shown community in these moments what we are made of.
1,000%. Keeping that in mind is a positive we need to hold on to.
Yeah, so I know, with Brave States Alliance, dignity first is always like a huge aspect of one of the pillars of there. How have you seen like an uptick in people coming to like the support groups that Brave Space Alliance, or again, do you have corporations who are looking to you to come like, all right, we need to have more training? Like I said, you do have a great training program about cultural equity. Do you see like an uptick in these things, whether it's through corporations or just people in the community? Like, I need community right now.
So we see an uptick of folks who need community. And it's not necessarily siloed to a support group. It's more of I'm just going to hang out with y'all all day. And that's absolutely fine. That is absolutely fine. We see an uptick in volunteerism of corporate partners who want to say, can we share space with you all? How can we help? How can we support? Because when we think about the Dignity First model, we think about it from a collaborative standpoint, that if we can get you involved, this space becomes anchored to you as an individual as well, right? It becomes more of a family-oriented environment where this is your space and you want to see it thrive because you're actively engaged in it. So we see our corporate partners and our community members engaging with us in ways that they haven't before. But I still feel that a lot of our more corporate partners are still putting their feelers out in hopes that they don't get a smackdown for engaging with us in the long run. So folks are cautiously optimistic, but I do know that our day-to-day community members, we are absolutely seeing an uptick, and we're seeing an uptick of folks from other states who are under a great deal of oppression, fleeing for safety and coming to Illinois and Chicago and coming to Brave Space.
I was about to ask you, since Illinois is a haven for taking care of people, are you seeing that? And indeed you are.
We are.
Yeah.
We are. We definitely are.
Not surprising.
We are. Like, when I think about some of the upcoming administration challenges, and again, right, same as like what you said earlier, I can't prognosticate anything, but sometimes writing is on the wall. The upcoming administration is going to shape everything from healthcare access to housing policies to federal funding for community programs. And we can't just look at the president, right? It's also the Congress. If we see gridlock or like this regressive legislation, it's going to fall on grassroots organizations to fill the gaps.
Yeah, more than ever.
Because these spaces, this legislation is going to cut in areas that we, as Brave Space and other organizations, are going to have to fill in the gaps. We're going to have to.
Yeah. More important than ever.
And that is one thing that is kind of, I mean, I know I can just hear like, oh gosh, here we go, getting ready for that. But the one thing that is that is giving me hope for the next 4 years or whatever, however long it's going to be there.
Right.
Is the fact that, like, you know what, we need to, really believe that I think our focus needs to be, like, go local. We need to worry about, like, what is happening right here in our cities, right here within our communities, and to help support, because that is what we get. That is immediate for us.
Right.
It is not like sending an email to a congressman, which we're lucky that we have a lot of wonderful elected folks, especially here in Illinois. But if we just start local and support these agencies that are doing the work right now, I think we can get through this. And so if folks want to help out right now, how can, like, what does Brave Space Alliance need in this moment?
We need in-kind support. Definitely food drives are always necessary, and the reason being is because the pantry is the most utilized program that we have. And when we forecast the potential of folks losing their jobs, that means they lose financial resource, that means they lose access to food. So we need those food drives. We need those clothing drives, right? Please, if you have those gently used or new clothing, please donate them to Brave Space Alliance. We need your financial support. Consider becoming a recurring donor. There is no such thing as a too small amount. $5 a month helps. $10 a month helps. You can go on our website at bravespacealliance.org and you can sign up there. There is no action that is too small for your support. Just come by and visit us. Advocate for us. If you know people in government, in spaces of influence, speak our names, right? You're in spaces and you hold voice and power in ways that we ourselves don't. You know, what you're doing right here with this radio show is supporting. So again, I just want to share with folks, while it feels overwhelming, history shows us that resilience and strategic action can create meaningful change.
Amen.
And I mean, the next 4 years might really be something.
Yeah.
but I believe that we will be ready.
You'll be ready. I have confidence, Channyn, that you will be ready, my friend. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Channyn Lynn Parker from Brave Space Alliance, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for all the work that you do and continue to do. If you want to find out more information about this incredible organization, donate, help out, volunteer, head to bravespacealliance.org. Channyn, thank you so much for joining us today. Happy holidays to you.
Thank you both.
And
our pleasure, so much.
And thank you for your optimism is a balm on so many people's hearts right now. So
keep fighting the good fight. I know you will.
We've got to.
And we've got
one
you.
fight at a time.
And know that we have you.
I believe you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. We got to take a quick break. And when we come back, there's more Out Chicago right after this.
This is Dr. Sharon Bethea. She's at Northeastern Illinois to teach us about the history of Haiti. And think about this in the context of colonization that has caused things like what we see going on at our southern border.
We talk about colonization, they choose to destroy and kill and massacre the people. So that began to happen. Indigenous people of that land begin to die out because they brought diseases and wars.
Sundays 4 to 6 p.m., The Family Meeting.
The worst thing about political jokes is that they keep getting reelected.
The Capitol Fools are getting out of Washington, D.C. and coming to see you. Don't miss your chance to find out what rhymes with the day's news when Washington's premier comedy group, the Capitol Fools, come to the North Shore Center in Skokie. Saturday and Sunday, February 1st and 2nd. Tickets at northshorecenter.org or ticketmaster.com.
This is a WCPT Civil Rights Snapshot. When the United States entered World War II, President Franklin Roosevelt believed that Major League Baseball should continue despite most of the players being off defending their country in the war. Worried about the future of the sport, Philip Wrigley founded the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League in 1943. Despite being the first league for women, the league did not want any racial integration and turned away pitcher Mamie Johnson because she was black. But Johnson's love for the game did not let this stop her, as Johnson and 2 other women of color tried out for the Negro Leagues, and all 3 of them were then signed by the Indianapolis Clowns. The 3 women faced struggles from their male counterparts, but won over the league and the fans with their playing ability. During their run, the Clowns had the highest attendance, beating out any team in Major League Baseball and the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. Please stay vigilant about our civil rights. The fight is never over.
This is a WCPT Civil Rights Snapshot. We all know the story of Rosa Parks, but she was not the first woman of color to refuse to give up her seat. In 1884, Ida B. Wells was thrown off of a train after refusing to go to the back after buying a first-class ticket. After this incident, Wells began writing articles about the issues of race and politics in the South. Wells's articles also talked about her time being a teacher in a segregated school, which later led to her being fired. Wells later turned her attention to anti-lynching after 3 of her friends were murdered and hung before they could have a trial, even traveling down to the South, risking her own life to get information on lynching, taking her anti-lynching campaign to the White House in 1898, and wouldn't be signed into law until 1918. Wells was a fighter for so many women and people of color. Just a little something to think about when you get off of 290. Please stay vigilant about our civil rights. The fight is never over.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
This is William Lindsay Cochran from the group Great Moments in Vinyl. You're listening to Out Chicago at WCPT.
Well, run for the maracas, get out the cocktail shaker, and prepare to be Samba-sized. Samba Bamba. Think Sergio Mendes meets the B-52s. It's an 8-piece Latin-flavored retro crazy band, and they are back after a long hiatus to celebrate their 30th anniversary. What the what? Wow.
Look a day over, whatever.
Oh, no.
Wheel me over.
Here we are. We've got the ventilators going for everybody and all that good stuff. That's happening on Wednesday, December 18th at Martyrs. And joining us back in studio are 2 of our favorite people on the planet. I'm going to call you again pillars of the LGBTQ community here in Chicago. Richard Knight Jr. and Victor Salvo.
Hello, hello. Hello, boys.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, gents and gals.
What is happening over here?
Well, we're very comfortable because we've had these lads on many, many times.
Many times.
These young lads, I'm going to call them. Yeah.
Here's $1 for calling me a lad.
Oh, thank you. Do you have a Werther's original somewhere in your pocketbook?
I probably do. Yes, and I can joke now because I'm at that emeritus age. Look it up, people.
It's already more fun having people in the studio. You can just feel the love.
It's great. So I think the last time you all performed was the last time we had both of you here together, I believe, because you performed
7 years ago.
7 years ago.
We kind of would do these, I'm not sure if you're hearing me, but we would do these kind of annual Christmas shows at Martyrs after the long run we had in the 90s and the early aughts. And then it became just kind of this celebration of love every time we would get together. And it's just been a long time. So, yeah.
Let's do it.
Yes.
So how did Samba Bamba start?
Well, I'll leave that up to Mr. DeMille here.
Oh, right.
I had just left the club business where I was working for Ken Smith and Cal Fortis, big time productions back in the day. They were, and was doing music and writing full time, which was like really super scary, but okay. So I think I was driving around someplace and I would constantly, this is how long ago, is I was listening to a cassette.
Oh.
Which now they're back in vogue.
I think so. Yeah.
This is back when they were, just everybody had them. To Sergio Mendes, Brazil 66, The Greatest Hits. And I realized every single time I put this in, it made me happy. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why don't I start a band that does this kind of thing? Ken and Cal were opening this supper club called Vinyl. I knew this amazing jazz singer, Kirsten Gustafson. She decided to be lead singer. I created this character named Monty Sugarloaf Madasheen. We quickly got musicians together. They liked my proposal. And within 3 weeks, the band, I think within a month, we debuted.
It was very fast.
Now, were you a musician? What was your musical background?
I was a singer-songwriter and had done bands for years. I'd played all over the city, but this was the first character band that I put together.
Brilliant pianist, too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you study music? Were you?
I did. I went to the now defunct. Every place I went, pretty much. Samba, Bamba, we closed every club. We played until they closed. We're still there
if
playing.
you're looking for a tax write-off.
Hire Samba, Bamba. Yes, I went to the Chicago Music Conservatory for composition and had bands. I mean, we played.
So you had bona fides. You knew what you were doing.
I knew what I was doing. And I knew that I was not up to the challenge of playing the keyboards. Because the music for Samba Bamba is Brazilian, so I need somebody who can play jazz, who can take off from the chart and go crazy, and then come back, lead musicians. So
you hired the best.
We had the best people. Loved it.
Well, then how did we get Victor?
Victor, what's your excuse, Victor?
He told me he had this idea, and I always loved that music, and I basically said, well, if you ever actually get it together, I'll be a backup singer. It's pretty much. And then of course,
4 weeks later.
4 weeks later, so just be careful what you commit to.
We had no budget for Victor. He was my best friend, and he was like, I'll do it for free.
Yeah.
And after the first month, they were like, okay, we're going to increase the budget. We got to have Lindo. His character name is Lindo McCartney, which, people don't remember anymore. But at the time, Linda McCartney was kind of in Paul McCartney's band and was like, why is she there?
Well, we tried to be kind, but there was those under,
He loved her, that's why.
Well,
he loved her, and, she wasn't horrible.
We figured all the musicians would just assume I was his homosexual lover anyway. So
love that.
I came up with Linda McCartney, and then he came up with Lindo McCartney. And I thought, oh my God, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it is brilliant.
So yeah.
Here's another $1. So the idea was that he did backing vocals, but he could also be my personal valet. He could hold my cocktails, and I'd wear like a little fake John Waters mustache, and all the ladies and men loved him because he was so cute. So he would go out. I would say, Lindo, go dance with that person,
and he'd do it.
And he would, do that. So it was a really delightful concept.
It was a formula that worked beautifully.
Yeah, and Kirsten was amazing. And then when we left vinyl after 18 months, she went to Paris to pursue a career as a jazz singer. And then the amazing Jen Zeiss came in, and she plays Lupe Lowenstein. She's the lead singer and is unbelievable vocally, and then what she does, her energy and enthusiasm
and her musicianship
is incredible.
And she's a local performer. She's a Chicago
she
person.
plays everywhere. Like you'll see her at the Drake, and then she's in this Beatles cover band, and then she's in this, she's in one of those holiday caroling things. I can't believe the energy that Jennifer has with regard to music.
She really kind of transformed the band in a lot of ways. It really became much more of a show band once she became involved, and she learned like 25 songs in 36 hours.
Wow. Of course.
And performed with us without a rehearsal at the very first gig.
Did 3 sets.
3 sets of music without a rehearsal.
She's a consummate pro. She can do that.
Which was the gig where I met my husband.
What?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And Richard's like, well, I don't know, should I go out with him? And I was like, well, if you don't, I will.
That's a magical night right there.
Where was that? Where did that all happen?
Okay, so this is when we were super red hot, and this billionaire and his fiance loved us, and they hired us for a series of engagement parties, and every single one was different. One was a pool party in winter. They started
for the same couple, a series of engagement. Okay, I'm following. Okay.
And they were absolutely delightful. And so it was at this estate in Lake Forest. This couple, this elderly couple, they put a dance floor over the pool, and they tented the pool and created this whole kind of jungle thing. I think the guys in the band stole all the fake parrots.
That's what we got. What was his? What was
Heinz.
It was a fake parrot.
We went throughout the audience. So it was
Heinz
Jennifer's
would come on
first
every
night.
gig with us after that, and it was like still the feathers were falling out of it. It was the one eye was missing.
Never
Is Heinz
invited
still
back.
around?
Gerald Dowd, our drummer, probably has Heinz.
Will he be making an appearance at Martyrs on the 18th?
Sounds
That's
like
what I
you
want to
should.
know.
You better talk to Gerald
I'm
about
not
it.
sure. So Jim was working for the company that did the catering, and he kept coming up, and I was so focused on Jennifer and getting us through this intense thing.
Why? That's what you were there
we
to
met
do.
her that night. We went behind a bush to sing some songs.
Well, no, we were actually out in the
What, to
horse
rehearse?
stables. That's how big this place was.
15 minutes before we went on.
So anyway, at the end of the night, he was like, "Girl, if you don't, I will." And I was like, "Oh, he is kind of cute." And so we exchanged numbers, and then I think that's when I got the call to go overseas.
How many years ago was this?
This is 96,
Oh.
the summer of 96.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And then I went and worked on the world's most luxurious cruise ship for 3.5 months as a cocktail pianist, and I came back and restarted the band. And then he and I started dating in January of 97. Which is what we consider our anniversary.
All right. Well, there we go.
Yeah. So
amazing. You're coming
and
out
then
the world
he and
married
Jennifer, Victor went on to create the Legacy Project, and then Jennifer has worked very closely with Victor.
She coordinates the Legacy Wall.
Oh, wow.
installations.
All right.
So
The
we're all
synergy
basically
continues.
attached to
Yeah.
it.
That's fabulous.
Good thing we get along. So
Of course.
So it's
Shove over.
This really feels like a behind the music, like a VH1 behind the music episode right now.
I'm
of like
loving it,
the
though.
shenanigans that
Yeah.
happen behind. So
Yes.
now, 30 years later, you're here, which is mind blowing. Samba Bamba is making their big triumphant return to Martyrs on the 18th. So what can folks expect? I mean, I'm assuming Heinz the Parrot might not be making an appearance, or who
Yeah,
knows?
let's see what Gerald says. What can they expect, Lindo?
Well, we move a lot slower.
Your dance moves or just everything in general?
I'm not even. We have some choreography, and when we had our one rehearsal a few weeks back.
Oh, good.
And there's
You,
one
you
thing.
only need one at this stage.
Yeah, this because it's like riding a bike. We performed it thousands of times, but there's this one dance sequence that we do. We all kind of drop down and to reveal the band behind us because they're like going crazy and we're hand gestures going. And usually then we like pop up and get right back into it. Now it's like I'm holding on to the microphone stand.
You know what? That's the comedic portion of the show.
There you go.
So it'll be fine.
That's when you just yell at the band, "Vamp!"
Fortunately, all of our diehard fans have aged right along with us.
Yeah, they're relating to you.
Know
It's a
exactly
beautiful
what we're up against.
Well, we have younger fans too, and then the nice thing always about Samba Bamba is that we take really familiar songs, like a song like Copacabana, and then we call it samba-sizing. So we put it in the samba blender and give it this really Latin feel, change the lyrics, do different things to it. It's very, very danceable.
Very accessible.
Is it collaborative, or do you do the lyrics? Who changes the lyrics?
I wrote the lyrics to Samba Bamba, but
You wrote some of the lyrics, your own verse. Excuse me.
For 30 years.
So I take it, Richard, you write most of the lyrics that you change.
Oh, well,
he actually does. He really
and we do Tom's Diner, the Suzanne Vega
yes.
thing, but it becomes Samba Bamba, Samba Bamba, Samba Bamba, Samba Bamba, Bamba. Everything becomes Samba Bamba. We're going to do Christmas Time is Here.
Oh, nice.
Which becomes Samba Bamba's Here.
Of course.
Samba
there we are.
Bamba's here.
There we
And
are.
then we have a lot of original songs that we throw in. Our signature song is called Lust for Samba.
Oh, can you give us a little moment of it?
Lust for Samba. Lust for Samba. My mother told me when I was 10 years young. The key to having fun. Are we going to break?
Well, we should. No, I think we actually have the actual song.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, so we'll play that when we come back.
Okay.
But before we go, but not only at this event, you're also you're debuting a new CD with all of your original
The
work.
originals for the first time. They're collected together. It's called Samba Size. And it's for those of us that still love physical media, we will have the CD available, but it's going to be available digitally everywhere.
Good.
And we'll feature our signature song, Samba, Bamba, Cha-Cha Heels. Which is kind of like a Latin version of the Red Shoes, except she goes to Vegas and puts the shoe. Oh,
I love a story song. I love a story song. Hey, can you two stick around for the next segment? Are you cool?
I'd be more than happy to.
I'm moving into the studio.
Fantastic.
Great. Somehow we thought you'd say yes.
We're going to put on our cha-cha heels. We're going to cha-cha through this break, and when we come back, there is more Richard Knight Jr. and Victor Salvo on Out Chicago. So stick around. It's the final thrilling show-stopping moments, too. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago on WCPT.
The Hal Sparks radio program.
We wouldn't even have Tesla if it wasn't for Barack Obama. Obama insisted that there be funding for electric car companies in the rescue package in 2009. And Tesla was the single biggest beneficiary of it because they were further ahead, because Elon Musk had bought Tesla as a company outright and was pretending to run it, as he does right now.
Hal Sparks, Saturdays from 11 to 1 on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey there, it's Carrie Joy with your Work Money Minute and a thought about whether fancy cookware is worth your hard-earned dollars. I love cooking, so I have done a lot of research to figure out what is worth my money. One thing I know, fancy nonstick is a no-go. Don't do it. Nonstick pans wear out after a year, maybe two. Once the surface of the pan gets all scrapey, scratchy, you gotta throw it out and you gotta replace it. I replace mine roughly once a year. Here's another tip. Don't buy a set of pans. Buy the cookware you need one piece at a time as you need it. For most tasks at my house, cheap cast iron is the go-to. I like it from a yard sale, but if you gotta buy new at the store, you can do that too. And this leaves room to say, yeah, if you love to cook, a high-end all-clad or Le Creuset pot, that is the occasional treat that I think can be worth it. Although I would still wait for them to go on sale. For more everyday money tips, check out workmoney.org. This is Carrie Joy saying, take good care.
School on! Save on!
Sounds like it's back to school time, and Staples has great prices on everything you need for school. Save on markers and crayons. Save on notebooks and folders. And right now at Staples, save big on tech with up to $250 off select computers. Staples, where savings for school are always in session. N729, in-store only. See associate for details.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Why can't we all be dancing and swaying? Why can't we all feel lust for samba? Lust for samba. Lust for samba.
Lust for samba. The beginning of that reminded me of Spill the Wine.
Oh, it did.
We used to do Spill the Wine, and the thing that I love so much, because my background is in improv, is I would completely change
every time we did
every single time.
Lyrics.
And the only way that the band would know that, okay, we're getting to the chorus, Spill the Wine, is I would say, and in walked Karen Carpenter. And in one hand, she had a bottle of wine, and in the other, she had a chicken leg. So
the band would just crack up.
I love it.
Because I would just change whatever I was
Did you do it on the spur of the moment?
Yeah.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah, it became like part of the signature thing. And then it became like the pressure, like, okay, how is he going to top?
Yeah,
the last
week he did all this Sondheim stuff. What's he going to do this week? And it became like, if I wasn't funny or they were sort of mediocre a couple times, oh dear, not good.
If you were just joining us, these incredible voices that you were hearing, that was Lust for Samba by Samba Bamba. And we have two of the original members of Samba Bamba, Richard Knight Jr. and Victor Salvo, joining us. You want to make sure that you check out their show on the 18th at Martyrs for their 30th anniversary. How can folks get tickets for that?
I want to say it's martyrslive.com, or there will be tickets at the door. I think it's $20. Emilia would love to mention that making her Chicago debut is this amazing up-and-coming singer-songwriter, Grace Carlin.
Your niece.
Who happens to also be my niece, who literally graduated from Berklee School of Music in Boston in April and has a song called Killin' It, which she's going to do.
All right.
She just played a concert in Brooklyn on Tuesday. She's got a management team. She's working. I mean,
you must be so proud.
Unbelievably
She takes
proud.
after Uncle Richard.
And her parents, who are both amazing actors, and her father is a Broadway performer and actor and singer, and music has always been a huge part of their family. My brother-in-law's mother was Frances Sternhagen, the legendary Broadway actress, two-time Tony winner. His entire childhood, his 6 siblings, they grew up with this thing where they all do the sing-alongs, and so he does not travel without a guitar.
Mind blown.
So
and this is your sister's husband.
This is my sister's husband.
And so she's also like you in
she's
the arts.
an actor.
She's no slouch either.
Television, movie, Yale, blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
So it's wonderful to see that artistic thing happen.
And they're coming in.
It's not just her. Their brother Connor also, has come up that way. But she in particular, because she writes these amazing songs.
She's I'm looking at her picture right now.
21 or 22. She's like astonishingly gifted. Like, where did you come
with
up
all
with
that genealogy on her side? How could she not be?
And of course her uncle. I know every time she was around me. Definitely.
Got to do this for Dick
That's the songwriter that I am.
That is so neat. I love that.
Yeah. So she's making her Chicago debut, doing her wistful sad girl songs and a couple of holiday tunes.
And it's an early show. It starts at 6:30.
Doors are at 6:30, and she'll go on at 7:30. And 7:30. We're going to go on 8ish. In time to get people home
by 10.
By 10. Yeah.
Okay. So you got to watch your stories.
I
got to get home and get my stories. I got to watch my stories on the show.
Most of our fans are in their PJs usually by 7 o'clock.
So, Victor, not only you are part of this iconic Chicago band, you are also part of the iconic, you are the Legacy Project. What's been going on with them?
Legacy is, we're trying to figure out a way to let me retire at this point, because I ain't no spring chicken, as you can imagine. But
this has kind of been a theme for you through the entire show.
Yeah.
What's wrong? I feel some aches and pains there, Victor.
We're trying to decorate for Christmas, and I can't even get up off the floor.
I hear you.
And I was like, this is really bad. I'm like falling apart. I've aged 10 years in the last 3 weeks.
That's what Samba Bamba will do.
But anyway, we're trying to raise money to basically replace me with 4 people, which is pretty much what's going to be required. But it's a struggle, but Legacy continues to plug along, and I think our mission, to inform the world about the contributions and achievements of LGBTQ people throughout history is going to be more important than ever under the coming circumstances that we're about to enter into, where those voices are going to try and be silenced as much as possible. So, and I've seen with my own eyes the transformative ability that comes about when people, no matter what their personal stripage is, learn about this information.
But I can't believe you won't be some part, even if you quote unquote retire. Won't you have a little?
Oh, I actually plan on staying on. What I want to do is retire from being executive director. And become programming director.
There we go.
So I can focus more on getting the Legacy Wall back on tour and obviously maintaining the Legacy Walk and expanding the education curriculum.
Well, that's good to hear. That's excellent.
Yeah, and like you said, now more than ever,
yes,
we need to make sure that these stories
our history is very powerful. And it's probably the most powerful tool we actually have, and most people don't know what it is.
And the people don't see the long view,
right?
Which is everything. If you read Heather Cox Richardson, everything is about history repeating itself, and so it's even more crucially important with LGBTQ plus folks to know their history, to understand it. And I also have seen people just like, really? That happened?
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to happen again if we don't, or if we're not vigilant.
Yeah, and we need to, it's especially important for kids because most youth, all they actually know about AIDS, for example, is that it's a really bad STD.
Oh, yeah.
And they have been completely denied the story of what this community achieved. And why the reason why we're as hated as we are is because we are the only group that has ever defeated the Christian right.
Yeah.
And so we're squarely in the target hairs now.
Yeah.
But that story of triumph in a time when we had the fewest resources, when we were not organized, when it was a very, very dark.
More questions
as you
and
guys know,
answers.
right?
Yeah.
The fact that we actually triumphed based upon just literally our own moxie. Is a story that kids need to hear.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah. I like, that's one thing that I've been saying for years. It's right after I watched How to Survive a Plague. That movie.
God. Oh, that is so hard.
It is a hard movie to watch, but it is like required viewing, I think, especially
really
for young people who weren't
for
there.
everybody. Like, I mean, that's just even, I remember, like, you know, when I was first dipping my toe into stand-up and hearing people make AIDS jokes. And I'm like, that's not funny. Like people had no idea of the plague, of how people were dying, and nobody cared.
And nobody knew about it.
Yeah,
because it was all under the radar.
There was a lot under the radar. Yeah.
Well, we're glad that Legacy Project is continuing to keep moving forward, and especially during this
as long
time.
as I'm drawing a breath, there'll be something going on.
All right, there we
that.
go. Well, if you
Appreciate you.
gotta watch out decorating that tree then.
I just need help getting off the floor.
Right, same.
Well, you just need to put in a little Scrooge and Marley. Perk your eye.
We actually we got it out. We were going to watch it yesterday. We haven't watched it yet.
Yes.
Oh wait, so what is Scrooge and Marley, Richard Knight Jr.? What is that?
As long as we're here talking about LGBTQ stuff, it's the only film version adaptation from a queer perspective of Dickens' A Christmas Carol.
Oh,
and who happens to be in it?
Scott Duff.
I am.
Don't you play Cratchit's husband?
Yeah, I'm Mrs. Cratchit.
It was just so far ahead.
It was ahead of its
You're
time.
Mrs. Cratchit.
Ahead of its time.
I'm customer number 2.
Customer number 2. And Richard,
I'm the co-writer and co-director.
Oh,
and
that,
I
yeah.
produced the music, and a song that I wrote is a theme song for the film. And so many wonderful people came together. Tracy Baim, who we know and love, was executive producer, and a lot of pillars of our community. Judith Light narrates it. Bruce Valanche is in it. Rusty Schwimmer, who's a friend of the community, is in it. David Pesner stars. I mean, Amy Matheny is in it. I mean,
David Serta has a cameo.
Foz Mirza is in it.
Bruce Valanche is in it.
Bruce Valanche plays Fezziwig. So it was a real labor of love, and you can find it on Amazon and Tubi and other places, and it was a real Chicago coming together.
It was super duper fun.
Super fun.
It was super fun.
It's so charming.
It is.
Really
it is ding dong a doorbell.
it got re-released a couple of years ago, right?
For the 10th anniversary.
I remember I saw it then.
Yes.
So very cool.
Yeah. So make sure if you're looking to make the Yuletide gay, make sure you go ahead and watch that.
It's holiday time.
It's holiday times. Yeah. So what are your favorite holiday movies? I actually just watched Holiday.
Now, refresh my memory on that one.
Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn.
And Lou Ayres is adorable. The younger brother, her younger brother.
Yes, who's just drunk. He's so gay.
He wants
he is
to
so
be,
gay.
He wants to leave, doesn't want to do business. And you're like, he's gay.
He's gay. He says it from his first line. It's so funny to go back to see like the way things were coded about how like, it's of the story of like a very, very wealthy to-do family who one of the daughters meets Cary Grant, swoon, and they have a whirlwind romance, and Katharine Hepburn is her sister, and there's this whole thing at the announcement of the engagement. And the younger brother, like mom and dad, like they had 2 girls, and then they wanted an heir to carry on the family name, and then they got me. And then he just takes a sip of his drink.
Does this sound familiar? But it's 1938, so of course we can. And I think this is when Cary Grant was living with Randolph Scott at the time. But they were bachelors. They were just
bachelors that were roommates.
But Katharine Hepburn is just delicious.
She's at the height
Nobody can wear a dress like her.
She was. I love Katharine
She was
Hepburn.
so fabulous. Like, we just watched that. We've got the IV drip of like easing into holiday movies. So
let's talk queer holiday movies. First of all, Carol is one of the greatest movies ever. The Todd Haynes movie with Kate Blanchett and Rooney Mara, which is set at the holidays. It's all takes place
holiday
over the
adjacent.
holidays. Holiday adjacent.
I forgot that it was take
also,
place.
what's another really good coded?
Well, not even queer. It could just be a good holiday
how about
movie.
just movies in general?
I love The Man Who Came to Dinner.
I wanted to watch that
with Monty Woolley, who was gay and plays Sheridan Whiteside, this renowned gossip columnist entertainer who is forced to go to meet these people in some place in Ohio. And he trips and falls on their stairs and has to stay there and completely overturns their lives. Betty Davis plays his secretary. It's the most natural performance she ever gave because she's darling and she doesn't overact. She's just wonderful. And
not munching on the scenery.
There's all this crazy stuff. It was Mary Wicks's first performance. A lot of crazy stuff happens.
How about the Holiday Inn and the White Christmas? Those two.
Oh, love both of those. I mean, one of my favorite things about White Christmas, and which is pointed out a million times, is when Danny Kaye dances with Vera Ellen. Oh my God. Edith had dyed the shoes to match his suit. So you just stare at the gray suit right down to those feet.
Do you prefer a Holiday Inn over White Christmas, or do you think they're both?
That is White Christmas.
That's in
I do prefer that over Holiday Inn, which has some problematic areas now. Which at the time, I mean, it's so horrible to go back. There's a whole blackface segment.
Oh no!
Oh God!
Well, that's the same thing in like White Christmas. They do a whole thing about like the minstrel shows.
It's scaled back a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, whereas actually in
they actually
Holiday,
do it,
and they actually do. So I mean, we always love to watch those. I mean, there's
the best things happen when you're dancing.
Do you know Remember the Night with Barbara Stanwyck and Fred McMurray?
I don't, but I love Barbara Stanwyck.
It was made before Double Indemnity, and it was written by Preston Sturges. It's this amazing movie. She's this thief who steals a bracelet, and Fred McMurray is the assistant district attorney, and he springs her from jail so she doesn't be in jail at Christmas. And through circumstances, he finds out she's also from Indiana. He's going home. He takes her home. He's going to actually drop her off at the mother's house. She hasn't seen it. She ends up going home with him for Christmas. And her mother is played by Beulah Bondi from It's a Wonderful Life. Her aunt is played by Elizabeth Patterson, who's Mrs. McGillicuddy from I Love Lucy. Who completely, instead of saying, Mrs. McCullough, she keeps saying, Lucy Sullivan.
Same character, different
their
movie.
handyman is Sterling Holloway, who was the voice of a million things, and he's clearly like the gay, And there's this amazing sequence where Barbara Stanwyck is playing the piano, and Sterling Holloway sings this beautiful song at Christmas Eve. It's one of the most...
What's it called again?
It's called Remember the Night.
I love those old movies.
It is one of the most charming. My husband introduced me to... I didn't know it. And I'm, Mr. Movie. I know every movie.
You do.
And we watch it every single year.
I love that. That sounds fabulous.
Add that to the queue. There we are.
Yes.
Especially since it's got the Q in it. Hey, listen, we've run out of time.
We are done.
We're done with the
Samba, Bamba, Samba, Bamba, Samba, Bamba.
I want to thank all of our guests: Carol Sharp, Channyn Lynn Parker, and of course these two knuckleheads, Richard Knight Jr. and Victor Salvo. Oh my God, Devin, thank you so much. I don't even know what's going on. Oh, okay. Pause! Ellen Miller.
Scott Duff.
Have a great week.
Have a great week yourself.
Next week. I'm Scott Duff, and until next week, stay proud. You're weirdos.
Always great.
You're weirdos.